the moving averages indicator. Install a control panel. Install the moving averages. Push it down here. Okay, it consists of 6 moving averages, of which these numbers, these are color-coded, so that's the 8, that's the 20, 50, 100, 200, and 800. You can change these colors in the dialog box. You can also hide or show all of them. It also shows the price of each moving average here at the right-hand side. And you can turn that off right here, or turn it back on here. You can also make it brighter or darker, depending on what color scheme you've been using. You can change the size of these values over here. I'll put that to 2, and you'll see. Get too big, it's very difficult. See how they get all clumped up and you can't see them. And then it has the use lowest time frame. We set that to yes, set to the daily time frame. Once you go below a daily time frame, then you get this stair step look to it. It'll be so you can view whatever the time frame is. View the hourly candles, but you'll be just showing the daily moving averages. It has 3 awareness settings. Local is the default with this use default settings and local. Every chart and every symbol will use these settings described here. Here's moving average 1, that's the color. Its default is to show, but you can change that if you're not interested in displaying that one to no, and it won't. That'll be its default. It won't display. I'll leave it to there. 8 is what I have it set to, exponential, but you can set any of those, and the close price. Same for the rest of them. But this is where you'll set the defaults. If you don't want one to show, you don't want the 100 to show, or you want to use a different number, whatever, different color, you can do that. If you change this use default settings to no, there are 2 parameters that can be changed for each symbol. And that's the default show, you can either show it or not show it, and the period. Those are the only 2 parameters that you can change per symbol. Like right now, this is the dollar index. And we'll just say we look at 8. We'll turn these off. And if we load, say, gold, we can change gold to 22. And we'll turn off 100. We'll turn these off. Go back to the dollar. We only had this one selected. Go back to gold. We had these 3 selected, and I changed the first one to 22. So that's what local. When it's set to local and use default settings set to no. What most people are used to, most traders are used to, is local with use default settings set to yes, and you just change the parameters in here to whatever you want. If you don't want it to display, just turn it off. Sometimes you might not need 6, you might only need 1. If the awareness setting is set to global and the use default setting is set to no, both of these charts, and they're both set to the same symbol, where here, I'll set them both to the dollar. I make a change over here. I'll change this from 8 to 11. It'll copy the change over here, made it 11, or if I turn it off, and vice versa, it can copy either way. If I go to gold over here, and I turn this on or off, it doesn't affect it or change it, and it keeps the same number. If, however, I change them both, the awareness setting to global all, and use default setting is still set to no, and I do that to both of them. Now anything I do over here, this is the dollar and this is gold, will be copied to all the other charts. So if I change that to 22, or I change this to 66, they're copied, or I can turn it off. It'll copy it. If this use default setting is set to no, then you're going to use the front panel here. If it's set to yes, then it's going to be whatever these settings inside the dialog box are.